This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, February the 5th, is a Toronto Blue Jays icon who he played Major League Baseball for 16 seasons. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame as a Blue Jay, one of the best second basemen around. The guy is third in games played as a second baseman and fifth in stolen bases. His dad was a baseball player himself, and he went to San Diego and then got traded to Toronto in a major trade, and then picked up a few years with Baltimore and Cleveland, and then just went to other teams other than that. Unfortunately, though, he has had a lot of misconduct dating back years. And in 2021, the Jays announced his retired number banner would be taken down at Rogers Center and would be removed from the logo of excellence. He is Roberto Alomar. Roberto Alomar was born and raised in Puerto Rico. He was the son of Sandy Alomar Sr., who played years for different teams. Well, Roberto and his older brother Sandy Jr. were raised by their mother because of their father's career in the major leagues. When school in Puerto Rico was out for the summer, they got to hang out with their dad around the clubhouses. They would absorb the game from the Yankees dugout with Ferdinand Muns and Greg Nettles. And, Alomar idolized his dad. At age 17, the San Diego Padres signed him to a contract. And would actually take 3 years to move up to the majors, getting his first major league plate appearance against the Astros and getting a hit off Nolan Ryan. He looked fantastic. He was great defensively at second base and was actually a reserve player for the National League in the All-Star game in 1990. And then came one of the biggest trades of all time, as the Blue Jays would trade fan favorite Tony Fernandez alongside Fred McGriff to the Padres for Roberto Alomar and Joe Carter. People were shocking. Both GMs were basically told to stop screwing with their teams and all that. But it worked out quite well for the Jays. I mean, Joe Carter, the 1993 World Series hero, and Roberto Alomar, the great second baseman. Fred McGriff was, I think, probably not going to be a good player for the Jays. I mean, John Olerud was in the shadows, and he did well. Tony Fernandez, yeah. Jays got him back in 93, though. Anyhow, he was an offensive second baseman. He combined a 300-plus batting average with power and high-end speed on the bases. He put up 11 triples and 53 stolen bases in his first year with the Jays in 91. 93, he had a great production. He was .326 with 17 home runs and 93 RBIs and 55 stolen bases. But the funny thing about the .326 mark was that was third in the American League. And guess who were the two guys above him? That's right, John Olerud and Paul Molitor. So the Jays went 1, 2, 3 in the batting crowns. He was pretty good. So anyway, Blue Jays had a lot of things going for him. And he was the guy who was one of the guys on base when Dave Winfield hit that 2-run double in the 11th inning of Game 6 of the 92 World Series. But everyone remembers his game-tying home run, in the 9th inning against Dennis Eckersley in Game 4 of the LCS, when Oakland was up 6-1 and choked it. Alomar hit a high pitch from Eckersley, tied it at 6. The Jays won in extra innings. He was named ALCS MVP. And he has set an American League record for most consecutive games without committing an error. 104. Played 5 years with the Blue Jays and was named to the All-Star team every time and won the Gold Glove every time. And shockingly, Toronto was looking to rebuild, so they let Alomar go as a free agent, and he went to Baltimore. He and Cal Ripken Jr. were a great double play combination. He was named All-Star Game MVP in 98 with the Orioles. However, one tiny little problem, though. There were a lot of issues and all that with that Baltimore time, especially September 27, 96. Alomar was back in Toronto, not for the first time, but anyway, he was in Toronto for a game. It was a Friday night game. If memory serves me right, I remember watching that game on CBC and all that. But anyway, Alomar was heated with John Hirschback, the umpire, over a called third strike. He was ejected and then he came back and spat in his face as Davey Johnson, the manager, tried to restrain him. He basically said that Hirschback uttered a racial slur, and Hirschback had been bitter since he had a son who died of ALD. That's Adalextrophy. Unfortunately, after Alomar's comments came in, Hirschback was trying to confront Alomar in the players' locker room. Alomar was given a 5-game suspension, but that was for the regular season for 97 instead of being suspended for the playoffs, and the umpires almost struck because of that. I wouldn't blame him one bit. You're doing $50,000 to ALD research, and Alomar and Hirschback apologized to each other April 22nd, 1997 at home plate and shook hands, which is amazing how they patched things up. Anyway, after Baltimore, he signed a 4-year deal with Cleveland, joining Sandy Jr., his brother. And with Cleveland, he put up career highs in home runs with 24 and RBIs with 120. Alomar actually was third in AL MVP, voting in 99. And Alomar and Fiscal were a great double play combination. And they did it. But Alomar would be traded before the 2002 season to the Mets for 3 prospects. He couldn't believe it. Alomar was falling apart and all that. Some say that he was uncomfortable because of the New York fans and media. All that. He was traded back to the White Sox in 2003, but he still had funk. He went to Arizona and then back to the White Sox. Couldn't do it. Alomar did agree to a contract with the Tampa Bay Rays. But then, he announced his retirement because he was having issues. He was a great second baseman, acrobatic and flamboyant style of defense, getting 10 Gold Gloves tops on second baseman. He still has the career batting average in Blue Jays history at 307. 3-time Blue Jays Player of the Year 91, 92, 95, and Cleveland's Player of the Year 99 and 01. He did pretty well in the postseason, being clutch and all that. He became the 3rd Puerto Rican to be named to the Hall of Fame after Roberto Clemente and Orlando Cepeda, before Pudge Rodriguez and Edgar Martinez joined him. And the Blue Jays retired as number 12 in 2011. So anyway, that was pretty impressive too. He almost got to the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. He missed by 8 votes. It was a high percentage of votes in any player's first year on the ballot without being elected. Some say that sports writers held a grudge over the spinning incident with John Hirschback. But he got in on the second year of eligibility with 90%. So anyway, he did some great things and all that. And Roberto Alomar was named a special consultant trying to help baseball grow in Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, by April 2021, it fell apart. He was fired from the Blue Jays and MLB about reports about Alomar sexually harassing someone in 2014. Anyway, Alomar would be banned from baseball. All that. The Blue Jays severed all ties with Alomar, removing his name from the level of excellence and taking down his Hall of Fame banner. However, the Hall of Fame said they will keep him. Keep his thing enshrined and all that. But the employee did drop the suit. So, anyway, Alomar did marry someone, but the wife said she was a victim of domestic violence on many occasions. Alomar was actually sued for women for exposing them to HIV. And people said that Roberto Alomar had HIV, but Alomar paid $4 million in settlements. Well, anyway, he did marry someone at the Art Gallery of Ontario and having a daughter, but still, it doesn't matter. Alomar still lives in Toronto. So, yeah, he's still a 12-time All-Star, 10-time AL Gold Glove winner, ALCS MVP in 1992, and All-Star Game MVP in 98. So, yeah, you can't hate on him too much. I mean, yeah, he did all that crazy stuff off the field, but on the field, he was just fantastic. And a Blue Jays legend, no matter how you slice it. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do.